it's LEGO Hobo 910 here with another LEGO video. And in this video, I'm going to be showing you guys my Avengers Endgame final battle or portal scene mock. So let's get right into looking at it. So this was a really fun mock to make. I did it over the course of a couple of weeks. It wasn't too long spent building on it because even though, as you can see, it has a fairly large base area with 3 of the smaller base plates and 2 of the large gray ones, it's not very high and doesn't have much complexity. As you can see, it's just like basically a bunch of plates with some bricks under them for different heights and whatnot. So it's fairly simplistic with a few more complex structure builds in the back. And what I think was the most fun part of building this was going through and digging out all my Marvel minifigures, kind of having a culmination of LEGO Marvel, kind of like Endgame's the culmination of the MCU. Going through and grabbing a lot from everywhere. I did have to make a few customs though for characters that haven't gotten official versions of, such as Korg and Meek here, which I'll show you closer later, as well as Rescue back there, who we're getting an actual version of in November, sad that didn't come out sooner, as well as I modified a few minifigs to make them more accurate or look better, such as Thor, Captain America. I gave Thanos a more accurate weapon there. I also had to create, new figures for kind of the various armies brought in, like the Asgardian army here, some of the Sorcerers, the Ravagers, and the Wakandan army. So now let's go in and look closer. So let's start on the hero side here by looking down the line at everyone we have here. In fact, let's get a bit of a lower, more minifig level shot. That looks pretty sick. So as you can see, I built the portals here just using some ball joints with then transparent orange and flame pieces on them to create the portals. Then also grabbed some micro scale ships here, like that one, which was a polybag released around Infinity War based off the Guardian ship. And then another polybag, which is Black Panther's Royal Talon Fighter. And as you know, there were ships like that up in the sky during the scene. I decided to have the micro scales to, first of all, if I just had the actual set here, it'd be massive and just wouldn't look good. So I went with micro scale to kind of blend in better, make it more minifigure focused, which is kind of what I wanted this to be, as well as, make them look higher up in the sky since, they're really small, kind of a perspective trick. And then down on the ground here, we're going to go through the figures starting left to right. Here we have a little custom Asgardian army, which uses a lot of brick forge pieces for some of the armor and the helmets and whatnot. I used 2 Loki helmets there because I think it looks pretty cool. And then I also gave them some of these gold kind of elvish spears, as well as a few brick forge spears along the back. I also threw in that one Sicarian guard back there that came in the Thor Ragnarok arena set, because I figured, there were a few Sicarians on the Asgardian ship with them, and I figured some would have, escaped with Korg and Meek and Valkyrie, and gone to New Asgard and come for the final battle, so I just decided to throw them in there, even though you don't actually see them. And I have Valkyrie here, of course, on a winged horse, and I just stole these wings off of Frank the Thunderbird. And then, here's my custom Korg here, mostly purist except for one brick forge piece there, that pauldron. And as you can see, I made him slightly taller than the average minifigure by doing these kind of builds for the legs, and there's his club/gun type thing. Let's just plop him back in. Then here is Meek, who was quite a challenge to build. This is like the 3rd version I had of him. I think he turned out pretty cool. If you want me to make a more in-depth video on Korg and Meek, just let me know, because I'm kind of considering it. Then here we have Wong from the Bricktober pack, as well as Wasp. And there's Spider-Man and kind of the whole crew from Titan, with Groot and Star-Lord and Mantis and Drax, with then Doctor Strange back to there. And a bunch of other sorcerers going along. For Doctor Strange, I just used the Power Blast pieces he had from the Sanctum Sanctorum set. And then for Wong, I stole the pieces from the original Doctor Strange set that Doctor Strange was using for the spells. Then back there, I just gave him some Power Blast pieces I had lying around him, a transparent dish. And then as they do kind of create weapons out of energy, I gave him a Brick Forge transparent orange fire sword, which I think looks pretty cool. And just flying along there, we have Falcon. Over there is the War Machine from the Bricktober pack with Rocket on him. And then in the center, of course, Captain America. I just used the Civil War version of Captain America with then the shield from the Endgame sets, as well as I gave him the helmet from the Endgame sets over the face print, because I think it does look pretty cool. And I decided to custom build a Mjolnir to get the colors more accurate, as well as, you know, be a bit different than most people's MOCs where they just have the regular Mjolnir, so I think that's pretty cool. And then we have Fat Thor there, who just uses the Thor from the Ragnarok sets. Wait, no, never mind. This is my Infinity War version, even though they're pretty much the same figure. And then I used this hairpiece from the Bat subset that they used for Aquaman, as well as gave him some lightning effects around him to look a bit extra cool. Then I have Hulk from the Compound Battle set. If we move Falcon, you can see my little group of custom Ravagers. Basically, I just took all of my extra Star-Lords as well as Taserface. I also used Yondu, but you'll see him later for a different figure. But I basically just tore all of their heads off and then reused them. I made a custom Kraiglin here, as you can see. I think that face really fits with him, and then I just gave him a extra Yondu fin I had lying around. And then an arrow. I know Yondu used a gold arrow in the set, but I think the silver one looks more accurate. And then I just kept Taserface's gun, went with that kind of classic alien head. And then just made some custom weapons for these guys using Star-Lord's bodies. And over here we have Scarlet Witch there, as well as Bucky in the background with a slightly customized gun. It's just a Star Wars long gun here with then a minifigure hand attached to the base. And there's the Mark 85, of course. And here is Rescue, which I just used the torso and legs from Aisha from Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. Took one of these neck attachments from Spider-Man as he didn't have the legs out in the scene, you know, the extra giant golden legs. And then just built these little boosters. And if I had an Iron Legion minifig, I would have stolen the helmet off of that and put it here because obviously, you know, it's perfect color and works. But I don't have any Iron Legion figs, so I decided to go helmet off version here. It'd be better than just, you know, like putting on some other blue helmet or a regular red Iron Man helmet. It would look really weird. So I think this was like a good compromise. And then of course we have the Wakandan Army back there. We have Black Panther and then Nakia, Shuri, and Okoye, as well as a couple custom Wakandan soldiers. And then of course Giant Man. So now let's go look at Thanos' army. So I watched through the scene from the final battle here on YouTube like a million times. And like every day I would have to find a new video because the one from the day before would get copyrighted and deleted. And I think this is approximately the order that the Black Order was in. Here's Thanos with his custom-built Thanos sword. Once again, if you want me to make a video on that, I can go ahead and, you know, show you how to build. It's a fairly basic thing, but there is a bit of weird stuff going on there to get the connections opposite. I originally tried building it with plates, but it just didn't work out too well for me, so I decided to go bricks. Yeah, then here we have the Black Order with Cull Obsidian, Proxima Midnight, Corvus Glaive, and then we have Ebony Maw here, who I could have just, you know, put in the air on some clear bricks and just called it good, because in that scene he was kind of launching himself forward with his powers, but I think doing something like this looks so much cooler with the spiral here and then the kind of blasts coming out. I think it looks really cool to, you know, kind of show his powers. And then a slightly raised plateau here, we just have a horde of Thanos' army. I have all the Outriders from the Infinity War and Endgame sets, which I believe is a total of like 12 or something. And then I have a couple Shatari there and back there from the Endgame sets, as well as a couple Shatari, one on there, and then one up over there from the original Avengers sets, like that one small Captain America Cycle set. As well as I grabbed a couple of these guys from Guardians of the Galaxy because they were confirmed to be there, as well as you could see some of them and their ships throughout the thing. And then also built one custom Shatari right there and a couple custom whatever those dudes are from Guardians of the Galaxy. Where'd that other one go? I don't know. Oh, there he is. Yeah, just built a couple customs of them just to kind of build the army up a bit. They're not really that good. I just kind of wanted them to blend in a bit and help build up the army. And then I have these two ships from the original Guardians of the Galaxy. This being a slightly smaller one, not the bigger version. They came in the Milano set and then the Nova Corps ship set. And then here's one of the builds from the Captain America Avenging cycle with the Chitauri on top. And then he's just flying along there. I just have all those supported on transparent beams, obviously. I think that looks pretty cool. So now let's head on down center, check out some of the scenes going on in back. So we're actually going to start back here with the compound. We're just going to move Giant Man out of the way here. And I decided instead of just building it in plain white like the compound is, I'd do kind of a gradient here, starting with like a layer of black, then some dark gray, light gray, building up to white, to kind of, you know, make it look like it's dirty and messed up from, you know, the explosions going off around it, so it like has some ash and dirt on it instead of it just still being pristine, which I think looks pretty nice. Then I just stole this stickered plate, or excuse me, stickered tile from the compound battle set, the helipad area, and I think it looks pretty nice. I also decided to have kind of some metal beams in here to look like framing, which is now exposed. And then I just filled the inside there with a bunch of random pieces, because as I was building it, I forgot that the inside would be exposed. So it looks really messy and weird on the inside, and I was already almost done with the building at that point, so it was really too far to go back and change anything. So I just decided it would be a good option to just throw in a bunch of gray pieces in there to look like rubble, and I think it turned out fairly nicely. And then also have kind of a patched up weird looking roof here. And then we have kind of a little tunnel bit going through there, and one more scene in the back here. It's really hard to see as it's kind of low down. It's where Nebula back there kills Nebula, and that's where I use the body and legs for Taserface. You can also slightly see Gamora way in the back, and then Hawkeye sitting here with the Infinity Gauntlet. And once again, there I had a decision to make. I could just use the regular Infinity Gauntlet, even though it'd be wrong color and wrong hand. It would be nice and compact and still look fairly nice. Or I could decide to try to make a new one, knowing that it'd be massive. It'd be like minimum of 3 or 4 studs wide, so I decided to just go on this because it would be a lot more fitting with the scale. I'm gonna go around this way a bit. So there's another little tunnel there. It's still really hard to see Hawkeye. See if I can bring you in for a closer angle so you can see him there better. So there's that little scene with 2023 Nebula killing 2014 Nebula, and then Gamora back there, as well as Hawkeye kind of confused with the Infinity Gauntlet. I decided to once again include kind of some pipes and rubble and bits here and there, and then did the same kind of ruined roof style as I did for the compound over here. So I think this is a pretty cool little scene in the back. Then also in the back, as you can see, I had to start resorting to dark gray and light gray. I tried to kind of gradient it in so it's not just an abrupt line from the brown to the grays. And the main reason for that isn't like some stylistic, artistic choice thing. It's mostly just I was starting to run out of brown plates at this point, as well as brown bricks, you know, building up all the side structures here and whatnot, and the bit of bricks going along there. So I just kind of ran out, and so I decided to go with gray and dark gray and light gray, because, you know, it looks kind of like ruins of the compound, and kind of put them in the back because it's a slightly less accurate color. And like I said, it can kind of, you know, look like rocks and ruins from the compound. And I originally thought it was going to look really awful, but I don't think it looks too bad because it's kind of, you know, blended in and fades away. But yeah, overall, that's my Endgame mock. That's my Endgame final battle mock. I hope you liked it. I had a really fun time building this, and I personally think it turned out pretty cool, and I tried to make it as screen accurate as possible, watching that clip over and over and over, trying to get all the minifigs in the exact right places and the exact right poses. I think it turned out pretty well. But that's all from me for now, and bye.